I like this because in our text this morning, the Gospel of John, which is the fourth of the Gospels, which was written by the disciple whom Jesus loved, it portrays Jesus as the Son of God from the beginning of time. But it also chronicles the story of a man who had been lame and unable to stand or walk for 38 years. 38 years is a long time to be broken. 38 years is a long time to be in the same condition. 38 years is a long time to be in the same situations. In other words, his entire existence had been characterized by his condition and the story that he had experienced. In other words, the setting of the stories tells us that he was at the pool of Bethesda. He was by a pool of water in this area of Jerusalem. This pool was located in the northeast section of Jerusalem and was constructed when Nehemiah rebuilt the Jerusalem walls that were torn around. This pool was known as the house of compassion because this pool served as a place of healing in Jerusalem for those who had been struck with the misfortune of sickness in their body. There were 5 porches surrounding this pool to provide shade for the multitude of sick people who lay at the gate. It is said that when the pool was stirred up, angels, or when the water was troubled, those who were on the 5 porches surrounding the pool would rush to get to the pool for their hopes of being healed from their physical infirmities. Even though this area was surrounded by many sick people, the gospel writer John focuses on one man. This man is not named, but he's only named by his condition. In other words, the Gospel of John, the writer doesn't tell us what this man's name is. He only tells us what his condition is. We don't know his parents' name. We don't know his name. We only know him by the lameness or the sickness that he is in. Can I just parenthetically pause right there and hang our hat and have a brief conversation right there and lift up this teaching point? Many times we identify people by their condition instead of identifying them by their position. Many times we identify people by their conditions instead of identifying them by what God has called them. I just want to prophetically speak to you on this morning to let you know that you are not your situation, to let you know that you are not your circumstance, to let you know that you are not your pain, to let you know that you are not your regret, because God has called you by name. Not only has God called you by name, but God knows your name. And because God knows your name, there is nothing else that you have to be identified by except the name that God calls you. So I don't care what others may call you. I don't care what others may think about you. The only things that matter is what God says about you. Is this helping anybody today? Can you imagine if black people had been identified by our condition of slavery instead of our position of royalty? In other words, we know people for what's wrong with them and not for what's right with them. Can you imagine a breakthrough we will spring forth in the lives of our fellow brothers and sisters if we begin to identify them for what's right with them and not for what's wrong with them?